When Albert Einstein died on April 18, 1955, his instructions for his remains were incredibly clear. He wanted to be cremated, he wanted his ashes scattered secretly, he forbade any public spectacle, and he absolutely refused to let his body be studied by science. A pathologist named Dr. Thomas Harvey was assigned to his case at Princeton Hospital. Harvey's job was simple: perform a standard, routine autopsy to officially confirm the cause of death, a ruptured aneurysm. But during the procedure, Harvey broke protocol. He opened Einstein's skull, severed the connections, and lifted the brain completely out of the body. He took the time to carefully weigh the tissue and photograph it from multiple angles. Then, instead of replacing it to prepare the body for cremation, he simply hid it away in a container. The man who demanded peace in death had his physical legacy hijacked within hours, all because a solitary medical examiner decided to ignore the rules. Harvey immediately went into damage control. He later claimed he secured verbal permission from Einstein's son, Hans Albert, to keep the brain for research. But the rest of the family was completely in the dark, and the details of that supposed permission remain highly disputed. The secret didn't stay quiet for long. Word trickled out within Princeton Hospital that their pathologist had kept an unauthorized human organ. The resulting fallout forced Harvey out of his job. Yet, in a massive failure of institutional oversight, Harvey wasn't forced to return the stolen tissue. He walked right out the door, taking Einstein's brain with him. Harvey lacked the qualifications of a neuroscientist, meaning he couldn't actually study the brain himself. His solution was to physically dismantle it. He sliced the tissue into approximately 240 separate blocks. To preserve these individual pieces, he embedded them in celluloidin, slicing them thin enough to mount onto hundreds of microscopic glass slides. A total absence of basic scientific checks and balances allowed an unqualified doctor to permanently carve up a historical artifact, all under the flimsy excuse of conducting future research. That research never materialized. Instead, Harvey spent the next 2 decades moving from state to state. He bounced between various jobs, at times working entirely outside the medical field. And everywhere he went, he brought the tissue with him. The world's most famous intellect sat soaking in various glass jars, stored at one point inside a cardboard cider box shoved into the back of a hallway closet. For roughly 20 years, the global scientific community had absolutely no idea where Einstein's brain was, or if it even survived. The silence finally broke in 1978. A journalist named Stephen Levy tracked down an elderly Harvey living a quiet life in Wichita, Kansas. Levy exposed the bizarre reality that the brain was sitting right there in Harvey's home. The saga only grew stranger. In 1997, Harvey packed the jars into the trunk of a car and went on a surreal cross-country road trip with another journalist, attempting to deliver some of the remaining fragments to Einstein's granddaughter. The initial goal, to find a physical cause for Einstein's intelligence, had collapsed into a series of strange, undignified drives. What could have been a scientific breakthrough was now just luggage in a trunk. By the late 1990s, the physical odyssey finally ended, and elderly Harvey surrendered the bulk of what he still possessed back to Princeton Hospital. This graph illustrates a major flaw in the research that did eventually emerge. Over the decades, Harvey mailed out small tissue samples, resulting in a few published papers claiming Einstein had unusual cell density or unique patterns in his parietal lobe, an area linked to mathematical thinking. Modern scientists highly scrutinize those findings. They point to severe methodological errors, massive confirmation bias, and the glaring problem of comparing a broad control group against a sample size of exactly 1. Add to that the deeply unethical way the human tissue was originally sourced, and the resulting data loses serious scientific credibility. Today, portions of the brain are permanently held at institutions like the National Museum of Health and Medicine, where slides are proudly placed on public display. It is a sobering final chapter. One man's relentless curiosity completely overrode clear, documented instructions, proving that even the most brilliant minds cannot always protect their own legacy from the rest of the world.